ticking and it's ticking fast. We've had enough, this greed can't last. So count your days. You raise the price, but the vibe ain't right. Monthly subscription bills on repeat. Prices rise, but the pay don't change. We're stuck in the middle of a losing game. Count your days. Your game's exposed, the whole world knows your time is up, no more to say. Claiming inflation, but we see the play. How much more do we have to pay? Count your days.
Hey tea sippers, it's time for another episode of Count Your Days.
Count your fucking days, bitch.
Yes, count your days, bitch. So it is a lot going on. We have another round of mass layoffs going on. People from Amazon workers, Target, CBS, so many companies are laying off thousands of people around the country, which is just insane because there's a lot of people who've been laid off for months who still cannot find work. And now there's even more people to add to the unemployment line. On top of that, Fed workers are still not being paid, and they are not joining the food pantry lines with regular, workers as well. And it is taking a toll on a lot of government workers. You have a lot of them breaking down in line crying. Some people are even feeling away. They feel like Fed workers should not be able to get food from, public pantries. They should be one for private sector people and one for government workers. I don't care about none of that, okay? Food is food and people need to eat. People need to survive. People need to take care of their children. So it's getting bad. Now, another thing that's also going on social media is that people are trying to start a big, beautiful boycott, which is a blackout that's going to start from November 25th until Christmas. And people are saying do not buy anything for Christmas since Amazon and all these stores are laying people off. Speak with your dollars. Granted, there was a No King's Day protest not too long ago, but to me, that didn't really solve anything because there was no economics behind it. It wasn't like the Montgomery bus boycott that disrupted the economic system down in the South. You had to speak with your dollars in order to make corporate America wake up. So I'm going to go ahead and we're just going to watch a bunch of different videos, reactions concerning all of these topics, from the layoffs to the food pantry lines, to the boycott. I just want you guys to be aware of what's going on right now. So at this point in time, we are on day 30 and November 1st is right around the corner, meaning that at this point, we don't know how much longer this government shutdown is going to go. I'm now hearing whispers that it may go into January. So this is definitely count your days, okay? So let's go ahead and get started.
Day 30 of the government shutdown, and there is no end in sight, unfortunately. The uncertainty is affecting many, many military families who are left wondering if their paychecks will stop or, even worse, food aid may end.
It's hours before sunrise, but already soldiers are in line. They're not reporting for duty, but for rations with their families at the Armed Services YMCA food pantry. This busy location helps junior enlisted soldiers just a few miles from Fort Hood in Harker Heights, Texas.
It's a full-time job trying to make sure that we have enough food on the table.
Megan Holliday and Michelle Italy are wives of soldiers and know all too well an army marches on its stomach. With 6 kids between them and their husbands on enlisted salaries, they need help keeping everyone fed.
There's a lot of people who say, wait, there's military families waiting in line at a food pantry. Should people be surprised about that?
No, they shouldn't, because we live in poverty just like everybody else. We really do.
Soldiers haven't missed a paycheck because of the shutdown. But some military families believe it's a possibility.
We don't extra spend. We don't try to go out if we don't have to, so we don't have to get gas.
Thousands of active military members rely on food programs like WIC and SNAP. A recent study found about 13% of military spouses rely on nutrition assistance. Amy George with the Armed Services YMCA says more soldiers are showing up for help.
With the government shutdown, we have really seen a pretty significant increase, about 30% across the board of military families coming to look for food assistance to support their family during this really uncertain time.
What would you tell elected officials in Washington, D.C. about what you're going through?
I would say to make a decision, understand that this is hurting our families emotionally, financially. If you were in that situation, you wouldn't like it.
Like battle buddies, Megan and Michelle say their families watch over each other when times are tough. Since their husbands are deployed, they cook meals and eat together and will get through the stress of the shutdown.
We didn't hurt anybody. We don't deserve this.
What does having this distribution mean?
It means a lot to me. It means the world to me what they're doing, because sometimes you feel forgotten. You go to work to help people. That's our job, to help people. That's all we do. We go in every single day. This is day 28. The last paycheck we got was for 7 days through the end of September. And that's it. But we've been there every single day. We've been there every day. Who's thinking of us? We didn't hurt anybody. I promise you, we give our best. We have good people that go to work every single day to give their best. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I mean, this situation is so sad. And this is what I was saying when we had the Zoom meeting yesterday. You know, just going through the airport in Atlanta, I went down through Clear and the line was super long. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what the standard line looked like, but I went through the Clear line, not the Clear TSA, but the one downstairs. And it took about an hour and a half to get through there. And when I tell you the TSA workers were patient, you can tell a lot of them had called out or weren't there. And to know that they had to still do their jobs and not be paid, you know, it just broke my heart to just see them out there. They were professional. They were nice. They were just trying to keep things calm and orderly, you know, and it's just sad that people are out here working and they're not receiving a paycheck. So my heart definitely goes out to these government workers, because there's no reason besides ego for any of this to be going on. It's really ridiculous at this point. So I'm just heartbroken for this woman who's crying. Because like she said, she's doing her job. Imagine going to your job every day and not knowing when that paycheck will eventually start back up.
It's overwhelming. There are at least 200 to 300 people in this line that we're servicing today, federal employees.
They're not getting paid, so they don't have any food. And they can't get any food because they don't have the money for it. And, you know, this is part of what happens with the government shutdown. And we don't like this. Nobody likes this. But this is, once again, how the Republicans govern. They have no idea what they're doing. They never have. This only happens when Republicans are.
We're just walking through the food bank line, about to get some free groceries because of the shutdown.
Today is only for federal employees and contractors from the federal government. I have never seen anything like going on like this. Even with our regular food pantry, it's never been this many people.
It's overwhelming. It's mind-boggling. I myself work for the Department of Agriculture, so yes, and I've run into quite a few co-workers here.
Oh, I didn't think I'd be in a food bank line. I got a raise right before the government shutdown. So we're kind of the opposite is happening right now.
I mean, it's really no words. It's like, wow, I can't believe I'm here, you know, because you always thought that getting a government job or, you know, a federal job, that's security. And it's not, you know.
Oh, this is very important. I mean, you know, with my rent due next week, I could take anything I can get. At this point, I haven't gotten a paycheck this month. You got to save every dime at this point. You know, with rent, car insurance, student loans, those are not stopping. Gas, electricity, but this is a bit more flexible, you know, so this is great.
I never saw this coming. I mean, you heard about it. But now I'm standing in a line to get assistance for food when I could financially take care of myself prior to this.
I know God and I'm dependent on God, but you know, I saw this advertisement and I came out here for some food.
No paychecks this week means a ripple effect, not just for workers, but for small businesses too, all because of yet another failure to compromise. Urban Outreach in Southeast DC and United Community in Alexandria will continue food giveaways every Friday until the shutdown ends.
Thank you guys so much.
Don't forget.
Today we're focusing on them to let them know that somebody cares and there is hope.
You have to bring your government ID to receive the food, and you can find out when and where these distributions are taking place on our website, Fox 5 DC.
In Northern Virginia today, a line of cars that stretched nearly a mile made of federal workers stretched thin by the government shutdown.
The funds that I do have are pretty much depleted by this point.
It's the third day the Capital Area Food Bank has specifically served federal employees.
This one's dry goods.
This time at 2 different locations. Unpaid workers and contractors waiting in line said they've had to make cutbacks, like Valley Bennett, a single mother who works for the Department of Homeland Security.
I have a kid in college, a senior in high school. A senior in high school, you know, it's a lot of celebration, a lot of things that you want to do since it's your last year in high school, and we have to slow down all the activities.
More than 1 million federal employees today missed their first full paychecks since the shutdown began. That includes Zeleny Johnson, a mother of 3 who works for the U.S. Navy.
It feels terrible. Yeah. It feels really bad. It's definitely not a good feeling to not get one today, but then to also know that you don't know when the next one is coming either.
That after Senate Republicans and Democrats yesterday blocked each other's bills to pay some or all workers in the shutdown. Many federal employees were feeling or anticipating pain in their pocketbooks before today. Lines formed earlier this week at the Capital Area Food Bank's first distribution in Prince George's, Maryland, and its 300 boxes of goods ran out with people still waiting. And today, with cars lining up starting at 5:30 a.m., there was even more demand, and again, not enough supply.
We are likely going to run out of food before you get to the front of the line. So this is our pantry network. Additional places to access food will be back next week. I'm so sorry.
It is a national story with food banks
Imagine having to tell somebody who's been in line since 5:30 in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, that there's not going to be enough food. You know, thank goodness they did count the cars and, you know, went and told the people, so they're just not sitting there waiting and burning gas. But imagine getting up early in hopes of getting food and they tell you you have to go elsewhere because there's not enough. So it is getting real out here. It really is. This is just so sad and disturbing.
Up around the country. In Phoenix, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul started making extra meals and collecting donations in the first week of the shutdown. And as TSA officers work without pay, airports are stepping up with donation drives, including at Las Vegas International.
Las Vegas sees millions of passengers come through our airport, and those federal entities provide vital services for safety and flight safety and airport terminal safety.
And in Salt Lake City, Utah.
These are our neighbors, whether you know them or not. These federal employees are Utahns, they are Salt Lakers.
The shutdown is compounding already worsening food and hunger issues. Before the shutdown, the Capital Area Food Bank's annual report for the D.C. area found a notable rise in the most severe food shortage, people considered very food insecure. It is government job related. As of May, 41% of households that lost a job connected to the government were food insecure. That's compared to 17% for households that did not experience a job loss. As the last box of food went into the cars today, significantly earlier than the food bank had planned, a lingering common thought from federal workers: don't forget them in all of this.
Just think about the American people that are out here working really hard just to survive. Just remember that.
It's a lot of uncertainty. Bills continue to pile up.
Federal workers missed their first full paycheck today, and many of them now struggling to just put food on the table.
We are here to serve everyone, but right now our focus is on the over 700,000 employees that are displaced because of the government shutdown.
Hundreds of people showed up to a food bank here in Southeast DC, where they were given produce, personal hygiene items, other household goods. And I talked to some of those federal workers who say they are now struggling, some of them dedicating their entire lives to government service. Now they're asking the government for help.
This is my first furlough since I've been in federal service for the last 17 years. I have children to feed, I have a family to take care of, I have a mortgage to pay. So it's a lot of uncertainty. I've had to tap into my savings, but I'm blessed that there's opportunities like this for us to receive assistance.
And Pastor Will, who helped organize today's donation effort, said he's prepared to have this for federal workers every single Friday of the government shutdown. At this point, though, there's no end in sight.
We wanted to let these federal workers know that, somebody cares and there's still hope. people, some of them I even know, have just expressed their gratefulness, their gratitude of just us being able to meet some of those needs for them.
It's a lot of uncertainty. Bills continue to pop.
I mean, it's insane just looking at where we're at right now, the state of America. You know, we have a new ballroom being built that many of us will never get a chance to go into, visit, or be invited to. Meanwhile, people who are keeping the country running are literally out here starving because they have to pick, do I spend my money on groceries or do I have to pay for a roof over my head, car note, insurance? The bills don't stop. These companies do not care if you're furloughed. All the assistance that was initially put out there by some of these companies, they've all been siphoned. They've all been taken up already. So it's crazy. It's insane that these people who work for the government, who have been furloughed, are sitting here waiting to get food.
And what's it like, I mean, for the federal workers right now, seeing what's happening, the government shut down, it just seems like they're not getting their act together and getting things going.
It's hard to watch. So I've been trying not to watch the news as much because the news will kind of bring me down with everything's going on because it doesn't seem like they're really trying to do anything. And people are making judgment calls about federal workers like we're on paid vacations. We want to be at work. We want to get our paychecks. We want to feed our families. We want to keep a roof over our heads.
You don't want to do this.
Exactly.
You want to work.
I want to work. I want to work. So I'm over watching TV. I'm over applying for jobs. I'm over everything. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to work. You know, I've been there 23 years. Wow. Gave them all my life.
Your whole life.
My whole life I've given to the government. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and have you ever done this before?
Never. This is my second time. I came last week, and this is my second time.
I mean, money's really tight to begin with, and it's just been a whole big stressful thing. Come back to work, and then people got fired, and then people left, and I'm a supervisor, so I understand, and I respect people's individual decisions on what to do, but it's just a very stressful situation. I think that these politicians, if we don't get paid, they shouldn't get paid, and that they should all be sitting at their desks in Congress. If they can't figure out a CR, then they should be working on the regular bill instead of being at home in their districts. They need to work. They need to work. We're paying them to work. Go back to work.
So I'm just coming from a Democratic caucus meeting. Everybody's here in DC trying to get back to work. And here's what we learned. Right now, at this moment, there are between $5 and $6 billion sitting in a contingency fund that could be used to make sure that people who rely on SNAP benefits get food in November. It's just sitting there. The president is choosing to make Americans go hungry, and my Republican colleagues will not stand up for their own people. They know that all it is a quick decision about moving money from this fund back out to the states to make sure people are getting food. But instead, what we have is a president right now that is more than happy to give tens of billions of dollars to Argentina, to a foreign government, while letting his own people go hungry. I never thought that this is what I would be dealing with in Congress right now. I never thought. But we're going to keep fighting. We are going to keep fighting.
So that woman that was talking is the Congresswoman of Vermont, Rebecca Blake. And basically, you know, she's saying that there is money that's allocated over $5 billion and it's just sitting there. And that can be allocated to buy more food. It can be used for SNAP benefits, and they're not doing anything with it. Now, if you guys do not know, several states, I think it's up to maybe 20 states, I could be mistaken, they are now looking to sue because of these SNAP benefits. So we're going to go ahead and watch this news video right now.
Let's get back to the battle over the suspension of federal food stamp benefits. Half of U.S. states are suing the Trump administration to stop federal food aid from being cut. All but 2 of those states, Nevada and Vermont, have a Democratic governor. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdez live for us from Nashville, Tennessee. Nicole, Tennessee isn't one of the states that's suing to get SNAP funding. So how are leaders there responding to the possible lapse on November 1st?
Well, certainly they're still sharing their disappointment in the ending of those benefits starting at the beginning of November. Governor Bill Lee is actually in Asia right now working on several meetings with business leaders there who are hoping to bring in really companies to the state. But he issued a statement before his departure saying really trying to prepare Tennesseans for the loss of those benefits. Now, there are many on the Democratic side of at least the House here in Tennessee who are urging him to call a special session to vote on whether or not to use emergency funds to cover that lapse of benefits until the government shutdown is over. The governor made very clear that that is not something that the state is prepared to do. In a statement he released, he said in part that the SNAP program is a federally funded and operated program, and Tennessee is, quote, unable to utilize state dollars to provide the benefit and does not have the mechanism to load benefit onto customer cards. Those are those EBT cards that those SNAP recipients use. Of course, that does not necessarily make everyone here happy. The Democratic caucus chair of the Tennessee House of Representatives, that's John Ray Clemens, wrote to the governor and said this is imperative that we come together, take immediate action, and appropriate sufficient funding, adding, choosing to stand idly by while children go hungry is unacceptable. Liz.
So now we're going to go ahead and watch some videos about the layoffs that are going on. Mass layoffs are occurring, and it is affecting a lot of people in many different sectors. Amazon, like I said earlier, laid off over 14,000 people around the country. So we're going to go ahead and check out these videos now.
Amazon has too many employees. They've got so many that they're going to lay off 30,000 employees from corporate jobs starting Tuesday. That's nearly 10% of their workforce. And the layoffs are going to start tomorrow through email. Because, of course, nobody ever has enough backbone to tell you to your face. It's always through email. They did these little training sessions today to prep managers for communicating to employees when the mass layoffs start tomorrow. Now I want to connect some dots on something real quick. Companies will always cut you before they cut their profits. Period. And Amazon's goal? They want record profits by the end of the year. And how they gonna get them? By tossing you out the door, by paying pennies on the dollar, by making sure their shareholders keep smiling. That is the entire play. And see, here's the kicker. Rich people don't just want their slice of the pie. They want the whole bakery. And they're going to get it one layoff at a time.
I just got laid off from my job at CBS. And every producer on my team who got laid off is a person of color. Every person who gets to stay and will be relocated within the company is a white person. Now, in my meeting with the executive who told me I was getting laid off, I specifically asked him if it was a consideration for us to be relocated somewhere else within the company, and he said that we advocated to keep the show. We advocated to try to get you relocated somewhere, and we couldn't. Because I asked him, why are you the person who is making this decision or delivering the news that we're being laid off? And he said, oh, it could have been anyone. Only to later find out, because it wasn't until I went downstairs thinking that me and all of my colleagues had been laid off that I found out that it was only the people of color. So.
Okay, hold up now. Objection. Okay, my tin hat is tingling. If you guys remember, CBS was recently bought by David Ellison, who is a huge MAGA supporter. This administration, since they've gotten into office, they have fought hard to get rid of DEI. You know, everybody's DEI, from pilots to people who work on these shows. They don't want DEI hires. They don't want it with Target and Walmart and all that stuff. So, are things becoming more clear? That this whole DEI and rollback of DEI is being done to definitely cripple and get people out of certain positions. So the whole black team got fired, but none of his white coworkers were fired at all. And like I said, the person who now owns CBS is David Ellison. Things that make you go,
But he did get to decide who got to stay. So I told him, you said that you couldn't get us relocated, only to find out that you were able to get some people relocated, and they all happen to be white. Am I supposed to believe that that's a coincidence? And he said, yes. I'm supposed to believe that's a coincidence. I said, do you believe that's a coincidence? He said, I do, because I chose to keep the people who I had worked with before. So mind you, not only is it not based on merit, it is in its result racist. I don't care if you decided to keep people who had purple colored hair. You deciding to keep people who you had worked with before, which don't even know if that's true. If the outcome of that decision is racist, the action was racist, that shit is fucked.
So for y'all who don't know who David Ellison is, this is him right here, this fine fellow. He is the son of Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison is the co-founder of Oracle, and Oracle is surveillance software, that him and Peter Thiel founded together, and that is what's taking over social media right now, TikTok and things like that. So David Ellison is Larry Ellison's son, and he recently went into a venture to buy CBS. So I think there's going to be a lot more DEI hires being fired from television and media.
I need you to understand one thing. If Amazon can cut 14,000 jobs 62 days before Christmas, what makes you think that your job would not cut you? What makes you think your job is safe? Guys, we are living in times where employers don't give a damn about you being a 3-time employee of the month, a 3-time employee of the year, how much brown nosing you do, how much overtime you work, how much sacrificing you did for the company, neglecting your family. They don't care, guys. These jobs only care about the income that they can make for the company. And they're going to pay you as less as possible, but work to get the most out of you to accomplish that. And if they have to cut you to meet those numbers, those analytics, then guess what? Get ready, because they're going to treat you like trash going out on a Friday. Being somebody who know, because that's what happened to me at my job. But not only that, guys, 84 million people are supposed to lose their jobs in 2025 thanks to layoffs and firings. And this should be a clear sign to you that if the big tech companies can lay off people who are making hundreds and $200 an hour, what do you think they'll do for you making $15 to $20 an hour?
Amazon laid off 30,000 people today. The narrative is that this is about AI replacing jobs. The reality is very different. And I want to be really precise about it because it gets at corporate structure and finance and not really at AI in the way you think. So when people think AI layoffs, they think the robots are doing the jobs now, and therefore we are having layoffs. No, the people who are doing the jobs are more stressed if they're still at Amazon, but the AI automation story isn't actually hitting those jobs. What is hitting those jobs and is related to AI is the cost of chips. So NVIDIA sells chips to everyone, GPUs. Those chips are how we power AI. And none of the major cloud providers can get enough chips right now. Microsoft can't, Google can't. Google's in an easier spot. They have TPUs. And Amazon definitely can't. In fact, people don't know this, but AWS has a roughly 25% burning backlog on GPUs. In other words, they are missing out on revenue because companies are begging for more compute from AWS that they can't fulfill because they can't buy GPUs because they only had so much budgeted to buy GPUs. And so, yes, the layoffs are related to AI, but in this case, it is burning corporate demand for GPU chips that is hitting the capital expenditure budget of Amazon so hard that they need to find other ways to reduce fixed costs so they can meet the expectations of Wall Street around the overall margins of the business.
I believe everything that man is saying, that it's bigger than AI, because let's not forget, where is Trump currently? He's currently in Japan trying to make nice, doing a little YMCA dance, okay, with the Japanese people. He's over there trying to get the rare earth minerals. And rare earth minerals are used in these CPU, GPU chips, NVIDIA. You know what I'm saying? Those minerals right now, there's an arms race to get a hold of rare earth minerals. So remember, like I said, Trump has been out there for the past few days. U.S. and Japan moved to loosen China's rare earth grip. Nations partner to build alternative pathways to power, resources, and independence. Because right now, China has a chokehold on Africa. A lot of the rare earth minerals are in Africa. China and Russia do, okay? And that's also why we're fighting hard to keep China out of Taiwan. So these layoffs, all this AI stuff, it goes very, very deep. It's a deep rabbit hole to go down.
China just tightened the screws on NVIDIA, and this could change the global AI race overnight. According to reports, China has mobilized customs teams at major ports to stop the import of NVIDIA's AI chips. The goal? Cut dependence on American tech and boost homegrown chip development. Regulators have even told Chinese giants like ByteDance and Alibaba to stop buying and testing NVIDIA processors, even those made specifically for China. This move comes as tensions with the U.S. escalate over semiconductor control, with Washington already blocking advanced chip exports. If China fully shuts out NVIDIA, it could reshape who leads the future of AI. So here's the question. Is this the start of the next tech Cold War?
So as you see, everything is tied to each other. Trump being in Japan for the rare earth minerals, the NVIDIA chips, not being allowed to be imported, exported as frequently as it was prior. Now we're seeing this mass layoff, especially at Amazon and other tech fields as well.
Be like, well, why does that matter? They're all like billion-dollar companies. In Amazon's case, their margins have always been notoriously thin everywhere except AWS. Retail is like a ridiculously thin business. But the AWS margins have been really good. And so the street, for better or worse, expects them to continue growing the high margin business at a good clip. The street was not happy with their 18% year-over-year growth rate this quarter. And the street is looking for them to pick that growth rate back up, which they cannot do if they cannot buy more chips. And they cannot buy more chips without destroying their margin unless they can cut costs other places. And chips are so expensive that the only way they can cut costs is by going after jobs or fixed costs or salaries. And that is what is happening. And so
they got to get rid of the humans, especially if they're trying to make AI take over. So he goes really deep. His video is kind of long, so we're going to go on to the next, but he says some really deep stuff.
So if you got a job, be thankful. Because I'm telling you right now, eventually, with this government shutdown and people not being able to feed their family and stuff like that, it's going to be a whole bunch of crime and stuff going on. All right? It's going to be mass chaos if they don't do something about this soon. So right now might not be the time to be playing people. You might not be wanting to, give people certain attitudes, look at them a certain way. You shouldn't be doing that to begin with. But I'm telling you right now, people about to start crashing out. Some people are already crashing out. We are in crash out territory. Y'all better start speaking to people with respect, because it could be that one person that's just about to lose they ish, and you say something crazy, and next thing you know, you either in HE double hockey sticks or with the Lord. All right? I don't know what to tell you. Oh, and guess what? It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better.
We have some big news right now. Corporations are announcing mass layoffs in droves. Amazon has announced that it will be laying off more than 14,000 members of its staff. Paramount has announced it will be laying off more than 1,000 members of its staff. UPS just this year has announced that it has laid off more than 40,000 staff members, and those numbers are expected to only grow as we head into the end of the year. And it's not just these three companies. More companies like Target and others are also announcing layoffs, as the economy is really taking a tumble And the job market is not as strong as people would hope for. And at the same time, these companies are blaming AI for kind of taking these jobs. So you really have a perfect storm of events right now. You have these companies blaming AI to conduct layoffs. You have an economy that isn't adding new jobs. And at the end of the day, you have a job market that is extremely slowed down, and it's very difficult for a lot of Americans to actually get a job. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Spread.
See, a lot of y'all are asking the wrong question. If you haven't seen yet, a lot of major U.S. companies are starting to lay off people. Now, my question is, where's the safety net? What are these people to do once they lose their jobs? And for everybody thinking that this is not going to affect them, let me tell you this. It could be you. Nobody is safe right now. Nobody's job is safe from getting laid off. I don't care the amount of time you've been on your job. I don't care the amount of education you have. Nobody is safe. So instead of judging people for not having the right education, for not choosing the right job, let's start putting out resources and helping everybody that is getting laid off, okay? But y'all be safe out there. It's getting weird.
We're on my I voted Republican for the economy, folks. Yes, the brightest kids in the classroom. You clearly don't care about precedent, so I got something a little more contemporary for you. Let's go over today's labor market, starting with UPS, 48,000 layoffs. Amazon, up to 30,000 layoffs. That's 1/10 of their entire workforce. Intel, 24,000 layoffs. Nestle, 11,000 layoffs. Ford, 11,000 layoffs. Novo Nordisk, that's 9,000 layoffs. Microsoft, 7,000 layoffs. Pricewater, PwC, maybe you heard of them, 5,600 layoffs. Salesforce, 4,000 layoffs. Paramount, 2,000 layoffs. Target, 1,800 layoffs. Kroger, 1,000 layoffs. Applied Materials, 1,500 layoffs. Meta, that's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, 600 layoffs. With more on the way, I have no doubt. Folks, when you hear somebody say something stupid like, well, I'm voting Republican for the economy, the next question that should come out of your mouth is, what the fuck did the economy ever do to you to deserve that? Huh? The worst thing you could do for the economy is put a Republican in charge of it. All you have to do is look at history, or you could look at what's happening today. Check out your grocery bill. Inflation and tariffs got it higher than Elvis Presley in a bathroom. The labor market's as weak as it's been since the Biden administration. The numbers are so bad that they don't even want to put them out anymore. But you voted Republican for the economy.
Good morning, Michael. It's nice to see you guys. And these are deep, deep cuts. Amazon is planning to cut 14,000 corporate jobs starting this week. It is one of the largest rounds of layoffs in the company's history. Why would Amazon be doing this right now ahead of the holidays while the company seems to be doing well? Well, in a note to employees this morning, they say the world is changing quickly. This generation of AI is the most transformative technology we have seen since the internet. And that's really echoing what CEO Andy Jassy started signaling this summer when he said generative AI could mean fewer workers. And Amazon isn't alone here making these changes in the midst of a major AI transformation. Target announced last week that it will be eliminating about 1,800 roles. Other tech giants like Microsoft, Meta, Google, and Intel have also made cuts this year. And this is important to follow because tech companies are a bellwether for the broader economy. They can be. And right now, hiring is slowing for the first time since the pandemic. There are more unemployed workers than jobs available, although overall unemployment is still historically low.
This is disturbing to think about because if everybody's laid off, if nobody's able to work, then who's buying these products from Amazon? Who's buying these products from Microsoft and Intel? If nobody has a check coming in, they can't spend money. So it's just like eventually they're going to have to roll in UBI. I feel like eventually that's what's going to happen. Everything that Andrew Yang was saying years ago, it's clearly coming to pass at this point.
I was laid off by Amazon. I was one of the 14,000 employees that were affected today. They sent out an email at 5 a.m. Seattle time. I think so that people don't have to go to the office if they are laid off. I'm still processing what has just happened. I guess I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for what to think, what to feel. If that actually happens to me, I will have 90 days to find a job within Amazon. And then after that, if I don't find a job, I will have some severance package, which will last for a few more months. So that's not bad. Yeah. If you want to follow through to see what's happening with me, click the follow button. I think I will be also spending a lot of time here on TikTok.
If you missed my last video, I just got laid off and I found out while I'm on vacation in Mauritius. I just talked to my family and I'm not gonna lie, they were not helpful at all. I'm kind of like at this point thinking it's a divine intervention. I'm not freaking out. I'm also still very much in shock, and I think my family, they're definitely a grounding force and one to remind me of logistics and the job market, and honestly it's not very helpful. So I think for the time being I'm gonna refrain from really talking about it with my family, but I'm gonna talk with you internet people because I don't know y'all. And yeah, if you've been laid off before, let me know what you did in the first week of your layoff.
Yeah, get your financial houses in order. Because listen, I worked in corporate America 41 years. I've been laid off, reassigned, relocated, demoted, reorganized, all that stuff. And there's some things that are pretty common in corporate America, right? So right now you see the big companies like Amazon and UPS announcing layoffs, and Microsoft and a few others. Okay, the next wave is the smaller companies. They're not small like a mom and pop store. They're just smaller than Fortune 10, Fortune 50, like they're Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000. But they employ a lot of people, and layoffs are like dance fads. They just get popular all of a sudden. And companies, these smaller companies will be like, listen, these big companies take the hit in the media, we can start laying off people too. Because what happens is companies can make their books look better by the end of the year if they get rid of salaries and benefits. And then that prepares them for a first quarter. And they think, well, if we can start fast in the first quarter, we can get a lot of things. We can get our money to look good and blah, blah, blah. And then in January, they'll be like, oh, you know what? We didn't get out to the good start that we thought. They start laying off again in February. So if you are in corporate America right now, I am just saying, get your financial house in order, because the big companies are the first wave, the medium companies are the second wave, and smaller companies are the third wave. And we're still in that first wave and it's not finished. And unfortunately, as an employee, you don't have any control over that. You don't. I mean, there's a little bit of things you could do. You can be a good employee and be productive and all this kind of stuff, get good reviews. But a lot of times, it won't even matter. They're just cutting numbers, and your name is just one of those numbers. So
I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret, okay? The new flex among billionaires, the new flex among wealthy CEOs right now are mass layoffs. They're not doing super yachts anymore. They're not doing private islands anymore, okay? The new flex is, how many people can I lay off from my company at one time? Because see, for us, the working class, the people who work the jobs that they're getting rid of, we take that as a sign of the company struggling. They don't see it that way. They see the mass layoffs as a good sign. There is truly a mad dash to make AI run everything. And these billionaires are trying to prepare for that. These CEOs are trying to prepare for that. Even if the AI is not ready right now, even if the AI is years away from being optimal, they are still trying to prepare for it. And they get to brag amongst each other about how they have trimmed down their workforce, how they are scaling down, but still making the same amount of money that they're always making. All these people know each other, right? They hang out with each other, and they all act like kids in the cafeteria who need something to brag about. So if Mark Zuckerberg is laying off all these people, guess who else wants to start laying off all these people? Jeff Bezos. If he's laying off all these people, the muskrat wants to lay off all these people, because then they can brag to each other. One day, everyone is going to realize that what we are going through right now, what we are suffering through right now, are a bunch of super rich, like nerds, geeks, people who don't really have like great social skills or a lot of friends to begin with, taking control of every aspect of our society because they did not feel like they were cool enough when they were younger.
All right, so you guys just saw some of those layoff videos. So now we're going to get on to the big, beautiful blackout. A lot of people are calling for people to speak with their dollars and to not spend anything during Black Friday or the holidays.
I know you weren't about to scroll, as I'm about to tell you the most important piece of information of the day. I've been tagged in all kinds of videos about this, so I'm going to speak on it. The mass blackout, which is happening from November 25th to December 2nd, I'm all in. I'm engaging, I'm participating. I'll be advocating for this with the Big Beautiful Boycott. We'll be pushing that information in our Discord as well as on our website once it's up and running. The People's Sick Day, who I have also advocated for that movement and their leadership, they've picked these dates as well. All of us, we're all coming together because we have to be one unified front. I'm going to go through the list of asks. You guys are going to flip out. That's fine, but I'm asking you to stay with me because I have a plan for you on the other end of this. First and foremost, if you want to take your country back, all you got to do is hit the pockets of the millionaires, billionaires, and the regime at the helm right now. They speak two languages, money and power. They hold hands. If you take away money, they don't have power. So the asks are this: no work. We'll talk about it. Don't flip out. No spending. No restaurants twice, by the way. Super important. We don't need to go out to a restaurant to eat. We don't need DoorDash and we don't need Uber Eats. I lived in the 90s. I know there wasn't that. No projects, no events. Let's talk about what all of this means and how to prepare for it. I've put together a checklist. All you have to do is follow the checklist and we'll be good to go. I'm also going to put this picture of this checklist in the comments, so make sure you boost that so it stays at the top, and also make sure you save a copy for yourself. Number one, essentials and groceries. People got to eat during this time, right? So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to stock up on food, household items, and medications prior to November 25th. Now, we don't want there to be a surge in spending prior to the blackout, so what we're asking is that you buy from local or community owned stores whenever possible, and you only buy exactly what you need to get through that brief period of time. Number two, your finances. Make sure you pay your bills and complete essential purchases before the blackout period. We're not going above and beyond. We don't need to spend more than we usually do. Just make sure everything that is going to be due during that time is taken care of. We are going to avoid large corporate spending during November 25th to December 2nd. If you must spend, you need to do it within a local business, a small business, something like that. We are not going to engage with major corporations. Now, work is where people get a little bit hesitant. So we're just going to ask that you do what you can. If you have PTO that you can use, that you can take some days off, do it. If you can't, well, then you're still showing up, but you're doing only the essential work. You're not going above and beyond. You're not going in early. You're not staying late. You are taking that full hour lunch break. Whatever your setup is, you are doing the bare minimum, because by doing the bare minimum, you are actually taking longer for money to move through the process. You know what I'm saying? We are also going to pause anything that's optional, whether it is deliveries or a project or something that can be put on the back burner. It gets put on the back burner. The other thing too is if you can't miss work, I get it. You need to make sure you're engaging in the economic blackout part of this, that you're not spending. Now, let's go to number 4, which is communication and awareness. So we are going to inform our friends, our family, anyone that we interact with on a daily basis of our plans for spending or work, because it is going to fall. Yes, it's going to fall over Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all of those important things. You need to let people know why you are not spending and maybe encourage them to join you, okay? You need to share this information responsibly, focusing on the peaceful, legal parts of it. Go ahead and share this video, repost this video, make your own video.
Things at Target keep getting worse and worse by the day. Target has now lost an astounding $12.8 billion over its rollback of DEI. The number of shoppers visiting Target has declined by over 2.5 million shoppers per month since February. And former shoppers are not remaining silent when it comes to their frustration over Target rolling back DEI. Target has had to now shut down the comment section in all of its posts on TikTok. Target's poor choice to end DEI is now even impacting their employees.
We should boycott Christmas. That's what's going to hurt them. Fine, we can't all do a general strike. I get it. Let's boycott Christmas. We don't need material things anyway. It's 2025. Do you really want to buy all this stuff from the companies that laid everyone off this year? I don't think so. What we want is more time anyway, with our families, with our friends. If you work that day, call off, call in sick. Let's boycott Christmas. We can do this. Let's hurt them where it really counts. Come on, we got this. We
spread the word. The next No Kings protest is going to be on Black Friday. We are going to shut down the system. There will be no purchasing on Black Friday. There will be no buying on Black Friday. They want us to feel it in healthcare. We're going to hit them right where their fucking pockets hurt as they drive up prices on things like bread, eggs, meat, cheese. We are gonna bleed them the fuck dry. No spend November. If you don't need it, don't buy it. And it will all come to a head on Black Friday when we will take to the streets for yet another No Kings protest. Black Friday in America is the one day we swarm to stores to try to get a bargain, and we make these people richer than they already are while we become poorer than they already know we are. Oh, and we're not doing Christmas shopping this year either. If the kids don't need it, don't fucking buy it. We don't participate in holidays when we can't get simple fucking healthcare coverage at less than $29,000 a goddamn week. You take away government benefits for 45 million Americans and think we're gonna go shopping on Black Friday? Like, comment, share, spread the word. Black Friday Blackout 2025.
All right, so you guys just saw that last video. So like I said, it is a lot going on here, but I leave the conversation up to you guys, tea sippers. Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. How do y'all feel about the mass layoffs, the long lines, the food banks, government workers now, still not getting a paycheck, and now they're having to go to these food banks as well? And then how do you guys feel about the blackout that people are requesting? Will you guys be joining the blackout this holiday season? Let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Leave a comment down below. Please hit this video with a like, and I will talk to y'all later. Deuces.
If you want the latest news in the streets, join us and tune in for the tea. Breaking news with integrity. So tell your friends and your family. It's the Lovelyti TV show, bringing you good tea and good vibes. It's the Lovelyti TV show. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe.